Hello, my name is Larry Maddox, and this is my TED Talk. So, what does Christian leadership mean to me? Um, First and foremost, it is servant leadership. It is reminding ourselves of who we serve as a Christian. Um, it is reminding us that we are in the same boat. We are the same boat as our followers. We are all Christian. We're all gonna. We may go through different things, but we're all gonna. We all need of. We are all in need of His grace. It is being humbled. It is. Micah 6:8 says, uh, "What does the Lord require you but to be humble, uh, to do justice, and to love God." We are called to be humbled, as it says in Micah, be humble. We are called to be humble. We're called to be servants. We're called to get down nitty gritty, going to food banks, um, uh, cleaning the church, never being too lonely, too lowly, or not, but too high to clean the church. To clean the church, not see. I am called to be a pastor, and I'll give you an example. Not as a pastor, not being too high to get down and dirty and clean the church, not getting down and dirty. I mean, not oh gosh, now I'm losing my train of thought here. But um, but being as a future pastor, I can't be scared to go down and clean the church. I can't be scared to sit down and sometimes even um doing the aspect of one of my lost church members, who fell back in their addiction, um, be scared to go into the halfway house or to a crack house and grabbing them and talking with them like, what is going on with you? Why are you not being scared to go into the dark places? Basically, is what I'm trying to say. And servant leadership means not being afraid to go to those dark places and sometimes trying to talk our church members out of falling into their addiction, falling into the things that are going to hold them back in Christ. Um, Servant leadership um, means doing everything to the glory of God. It doesn't really say this in the textbook. Textbook gives credit to some guy, and we all know the ultimate servant leader was Jesus. And it worked out. It worked out okay. I mean, it worked out great actually because he died and resurrected for us. But you know, so servant leadership means taking the example of Jesus, and John 13 is a good example of that. Um, Even the cross when he died and rose again is a good um, example of servitude, where Jesus himself came down as a servant. Think about that. The Son of God came down as a servant, came down as the human, and died for us. That's an example of servant leadership. Um, yeah, and then him dying for us. That's an act of servitude. Jesus said, "If you do not take a cross and follow me, if you do not deny everything that is not of Christ and follow me," basically. Um, so servant leadership is key as a Christian leader. It is key, and transformational is just about the same. It is well key. One of the things is we live in a world that maybe people aren't treated as humans as much as it used to be. Um, And so, as Christians, we are called to be gentle and loving and lonely. I am reading a book called Gentle and Lonely, and it is such a powerful book talking about the very heart of Christ for sufferers, and sinners, which is all of us. We're all sinners. We're all sufferers. We have all sinned and fall short of the glory of God. But this book has really pointed out that Christ didn't, and I'm kind of back on servant leadership. I'm sorry, but Christ did not. Christ did not back down. One thing he pointed out was Christ, when it came to lepers, when it came to so many of these other people, these sickly people, he didn't back away from them, but he came forward to them. He sat there and stretched out his hand and healed them. How much more should we do it? How much more should we be willing, as servants of Christ, should we be willing to go out there and not expect us to be too high? Hey, you know what? I'm called to be a pastor. I don't have to do that. Understand this, even as a pastor, especially as a pastor, we are called to do that because we are to be examples of the flock. And it gets to my next point as we get ready to wrap this whole thing up. It gets back to my next point, which is what Design to Lead said, which is we are called to train, pastors are called to be trained, or to train leaders. And that is one way we train our leaders, is by being servants to people that are broken and ugly and down on the luck and not dealing with a lot of good, doing it in a lot of a good way. So is being a hospital as well for those sick and broken and those who may not have the knowledge of the Lord, but may one day have the knowledge of the Lord, no matter their status at that point in time when they first come into the church. So yeah, I mean, God has simply put us towards servant leadership and transformational leadership, which is the two key ones as Christian leaders. Like I said, some examples of servant leadership, at least, would be getting down and dirty and going to ourselves and finding a church member that may have fell into their addictions and fallen into, going to the bar or going to other places that they shouldn't be, and actually going there and talking with them, like, what is going on? Why are you falling back and falling off the wagon? And maybe even doing what you can to try and get them to come back. Is it always going to happen? No. But more times than not, a lot of the times, some of the time, they're going to listen. Like, you know what, you're right. I'm not doing what's right. So it is, being a servant leadership means carrying a lot for the people who God has placed under your care. And at that, I'm going to go ahead and close this out and say, ultimately, servant leadership should be the key leadership theory. Trait could work. Fellowship could work. I believe I mentioned that maybe in this video. I don't know for sure yet. But as I said, the two key ones are servant leadership and servant leadership and transformational leadership. And that's about all that would work with this. So y'all have a good day. Thank you so much for listening to me yet on. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.